The Battle of Nieuwpoort, fought on July 2, 1600, was one of the most dramatic and unexpected engagements of the 80 Years' War, a long and bitter struggle in which the rebellious Dutch provinces sought independence from the powerful Spanish Empire. It took place near the Flemish coastal town of Nieuwpoort, in present-day Belgium, and although the Dutch achieved a hard-fought tactical victory, the battle ultimately failed to produce the strategic outcome they had hoped for. The campaign had been conceived by the States General of the Dutch Republic, against the better judgment of Maurice of Nassau, the Republic's military commander and stadtholder. The goal was to strike a decisive blow by capturing Dunkirk, a stronghold of Spanish privateers whose ships, known as Dunkirkers, were wreaking havoc on Dutch and English merchant shipping in the North Sea. Maurice, though reluctant to embark on such a distant and risky expedition, eventually obeyed the political directive and assembled a modern, professional army of about 12,000 infantry and 2,000 cavalry. Among them were seasoned English and Scottish troops under the respected command of Sir Francis Vere. The army set out from Zeeland and marched along the coast toward Dunkirk, advancing into Spanish-held territory with limited logistical support and growing risks. By the end of June, the Dutch forces had reached and occupied Nieuwpoort, but their presence had not gone unnoticed. Archduke Albert of Austria, the Spanish Governor-General of the Southern Netherlands, responded swiftly, assembling a force composed of elite Spanish Tercios, Walloon regiments, and German mercenaries. Though his army was slightly smaller than Maurice's, Albert counted on the experience and discipline of his troops and the advantage of surprise. On July 1, as Maurice's army was divided by the river Isère, some troops had crossed while others remained on the opposite bank. Albert launched a bold attack. The following morning, as Dutch forces were still regrouping, the Spanish vanguard clashed with the Dutch right flank near the dunes and the beach. The initial assault was devastating. The Spanish pressed hard against the disorganized Dutch line, forcing many to retreat in confusion toward the sea. It appeared as though the entire campaign might collapse in a matter of hours. However, the discipline and training of the Dutch army, particularly the English and Scottish units, began to turn the tide. Sir Francis Vere led a tenacious defense, buying time for Maurice to bring reinforcements across the river and reorganize his ranks. What followed was a grueling, day-long battle fought in the sand dunes under the burning summer sun. The terrain made cavalry maneuvers difficult, and much of the fighting was done by infantry, musketeers, pikemen, and swordsmen, engaged in deadly close-quarter combat. At several points during the day, the Dutch appeared on the brink of defeat, but Maurice's calm leadership and the resilience of his troops gradually shifted the momentum. Late in the afternoon, the Dutch launched a determined counterattack. Their coordinated firepower and use of line formations, a hallmark of Maurice's military reforms, allowed them to break the cohesion of the Spanish Tercios. Archduke Albert's army, unable to hold its ground, eventually gave way and retreated in disorder. Though the Dutch had won a clear victory on the field, the triumph came at a high cost in blood and exhaustion. The army, badly battered and deep in hostile territory, was in no condition to continue the advance to Dunkirk. Recognizing the danger of being cut off or encircled, Maurice made the prudent decision to withdraw his forces and return north. As a result, the strategic goal of the campaign, neutralizing Dunkirk and ending the privateer threat, was left unfulfilled. Despite this, the Battle of Nieuwpoort had a powerful symbolic and psychological impact. It was the first time that the Dutch army had defeated the renowned Spanish Tercios in a pitched battle, breaking the myth of their invincibility. The victory solidified Maurice's reputation as one of the most innovative and capable commanders of his era. He had applied new principles of military science, focusing on drill, discipline, and firepower coordination, tactics that would shape European warfare for decades to come. In the broader context of the 80 Years' War, the battle marked a transition point. The Dutch Republic had proven that it could not only resist Spanish might but also challenge it successfully on the battlefield. Yet it also highlighted the limitations of military action when disconnected from political and logistical realities. The campaign may not have achieved its intended result, but the legacy of Nieuwpoort endured as a testament to the evolution of modern warfare and the determination of a small republic to carve out its place in history.